Greetings, I am Live.
And I am Scandal.
And let's play a game together.
All right, here we go.
Alright, so, yeah, this thing. I could do this.
We're having an experience.
I was
It's
just like, I could sing the whole thing. No, you probably don't want to just move to that right now in the middle of the
I pour a
series.
glass of water from the dispenser.
We've already had a great discussion about the dispenser, so
It's
I
fine.
pour a glass of water from the dispenser.
Thank you so much, mister.
I love the double period. Like, she's always pausing a little bit. It's so good.
So bad.
Honestly, if I'd have known that we would end so many sentences with our name, I would have just put 2 periods there. So it made everyone sound like they were pausing at all times.
Constantly trailing off.
They're just like,
Constantly lingering. Having that pregnant pause.
At every moment.
Yep, all times.
She drinks down the... Sorry, I can do this.
Are you sure about that?
Hold on. She drinks down the entire glass. Glass and all glass. She just deep throats the entire thing and then swallows it like a snake does. The glass is gone. The water's gone. It's all gone.
Goodbye! She is now... She's become... car.
Okay.
I just got attacked by a blanket. I'm fine.
Sound buffering fell on my head. It's fine. All right. Your mom is really nice and really, really like a grandma. Like, she seems super old. Like, I've never seen a mom that old before. Like, she is nice and old. Do you realize how old and nice your mom is?
Are you saying that because you don't want to look at her as a MILF?
Old. I just noticed she was old. That's
So you've
all.
completely desexualized my mom. Thanks!
Yeah, because
This is the child about their own parent, but also, again, that thing I think, honestly, where I've been frustrated, even as a kid of my own parents, just going like, people really just don't think of you anymore as basically somebody who has any other value, or it all could be, attractive, or, is
Honestly,
beyond your mom.
I have enjoyed kids who are like teens or who are, like young adults, like 2022 kind of thing, defending their parents' attractiveness when someone's like, well, yeah, but blah, blah, blah. Your mom is going, look, my mom is in their prime. Excuse you. They look great for their age.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of
also
charming.
think it's interesting where people are like, well, that's super weird. And you're like, It's also being aware, though, of basically social values in regards. It's like me being able to acknowledge that I recognize socially the moniker, like the way my brother looks or did look when he was younger, I could completely
Is considered attractive.
and was socially conventionally attractive.
It's one of those things where people ask the bi person in the room, so do you find me attractive? And they're going, whether or not I'm attracted to you does not define whether or not I can identify whether or not you have attractive merits to you.
Right.
In the same way that even if there was somebody who was completely heterosexual and cisgendered and they just were like, I'm a woman and I like men, right?
Right.
Okay. And then somebody's like, okay, but like, am I pretty? I don't have to be attracted to you to tell you you're pretty. You look great.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't have to be at all a requirement. Yep.
Now I know why her daughter is such a kind-hearted person.
I say to her face.
I tell to you
In a
out
weird, abstract, third-person way.
Third-person way. Now I know this thing I will say to you. But also, like, how intensely terrifying she is. I think you're nice as sort of like a contrast to that. Like, I think you just want to fill the world up with sunshine and sparkles because your mom is a dark, intensive force. And I think that's really admirable. I understand this. Rena blushes at me saying how cool-ass and scary her mom is and what a ray of sunshine she is.
Accurate.
She's the best mother in the world. I don't have to look happy about it, but she's always taking care of me.
That face. Deadly serious. She is the best mother in the world. I know this because I have seen her eat other moms for lower performance.
It has happened. And soon you will be next, even though you're not a mother.
Not a mom, but
It's okay.
She eats just people too.
It's okay.
It's all right. I love the seriousness of best mother in the world going, have you measured her against all other mothers in the world? Wow.
Whoa.
Of all the different ways to perform and motherhood,
Wow.
not only based on like archetypal performances and personal values, but also based on the societal differences of the, performance standard. It's amazing that she is better than all of them at all of their various ways.
Wow, you can really mom.
Yes! Wow, you can really mom. Oh my God. They can really mom. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Well, if anyone needed a new parody,
I know that sometimes the medical expenses can be tough on her.
Because she's brutally honest with me at all points about handling money and finances, and she's educated me really thoroughly so that when I live through this, I'll be prepared for the realities of a capitalistic society and managing my finances as best as possible. One of the most important things is discussing the meanings and presence of the costs that you get from places, as well as developing payment plans and making sure you have good insurance, that your insurance is actually paying what it's supposed to.
I mean, honestly, the way that this is set, the medical expenses can be tough on her. The medical expenses? Who the fuck talks about the how much it costs to
Not
be in a
the
hospital?
cost of my care, not the bills.
Yeah,
The
not
bill.
bills.
Who says medical expenses instead of bills? I would like to know. If in your family household the kids say medical expenses instead of
Casually.
bills, casually, that would be great. Because if that's like a regional thing, I'd love to know.
It's a little wild.
The medical expenses.
But she never complains. She just eats people. I mean,
And postures. A
a
lot.
lot.
I am more badass than you because my struggle is harder.
Yeah. My mom gets engaged in a lot of that. But that's why she just, again, just eats people. It solves a lot of problems.
The meritocracy suggests that you should just, destroy those that are beneath you and use them to your advantage to get to where you want to be. And so she takes that really literally and eats them.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
She works hard in our bake shop so she can...
Whoa.
Sorry, that threw me off because I was like, a bake shop? Of course! The kawaii desu backdrop of bake shop.
Mom is the protagonist of a game for
Somebody else.
2 generations ago.
Uh-huh.
She was the 16-year-old protagonist
She's not
working in a bakery. If your generations are 15 years apart, or 10,
Uh-huh.
your generations are usually 10 years apart, so that is 2 generations ago.
Our generation's usually 10 years apart?
I was gonna say it's like I think it's between, depending on how you look at it, it's a blurred line between 10 and 20 years apart.
Okay.
Because you have different, birth rates and ages and stuff.
Oh,
like that.
absolutely. Which is why
Yeah.
one of the things I'm going like, is it? How
So
consistent
I
is
say
it?
I think a generation is usually considered a 20-year span.
Mhm.
I was gonna say, but they also talk about like 90s kids, and there's
Uh-huh.
only 10 years in the 90s.
Right.
So it's who was a kid during that time is
Yeah.
the generation.
All right, fair.
She works hard in our bake shop so she can pay for my stay here.
But normally, well, I was gonna say, I'm also just imagining her mom because she said multiple jobs. So
She
she's in
did.
the bake shop and
And-
doing something else. And I'm wondering if she has one job that's telecommuting and one job that she picks up in whatever location they're in with that particular hospital.
Maybe. Or basically she does telecommuting and then she works in the bake shop.
No, but if they're moving around to different hospitals,
Oh,
she can't
right,
have
right.
a stationary bake shop. So right now for this hospital, the bake shop is where she works.
She do like bake shop stuff out of the home? Because I knew plenty of people actually
Etsy
who
bake shop.
Ooh,
Or have an
that's what-
online bakery.
Oh god, you'd have to earn so much money in order to deal with potentially like the literal bills of death that come from the American medical system. Like, wow.
I was going to say, on the other hand, if you have your own business and it gives you essentially business insurance for employees and stuff like that, then you might have better insurance than if you just worked for a job, theoretically.
Maybe.
And so that might help you offset the cost, as well as if you're rolling a virtual bake shop, you wouldn't have to pay for a shop front.
Right.
So you're doing it out of your home, you make it look like there's a physical store, you do tax deductions like there's a physical store, but there's not.
Fair.
Because that's how stuff works.
Sigh. Oh my god.
She's a wonderful woman. If I ever saw a woman that was wonderful, that's her. She's not a lady, she's not a girl, but a woman.
Who the fuck
Wonderful.
talks about somebody's mom like this, especially when they're in high school?
Also instantly, right away. Like you can have a deep conversation that spans like one of those 2 a.m. conversations under the stars that you sometimes have with your friends when you're just like sitting on the roof of the high school or some cliche shit. And it's really like I did on the roof of my friend's house where you're just hanging out and it's 9 p.m. and then suddenly it's 2 a.m. and you're talking about the existential depth of the world.
Yeah, but the thing is that I wouldn't even. They'd be like, "Your mom's great. Your mom
mom's
is wonderful.
awesome. Your
It's
mom's
not,
super cool.
It's
Your mom
not,
works really
she's
hard."
a wonderful woman. Sounds so adult.
It
Like
does
I think that's
sound-
the other thing too that I keep having problems with this.
Also distant. Sounds very
Yeah.
distant. Not
Yeah.
like she's so cool.
Right.
It's not casual. It's super formal.
She's a wonderful woman because I only know bad women.
The most wonderfulest woman in the world.
She really does sound like
So
she's
now
about...
she is the most wonderful mom and the most wonderful woman, preceding all gender roles of all kinds and all interpretations of those values. She does it all.
She does.
Period. And better than everyone.
And
I mean,
she continues
obviously,
to sound more and more childish.
I
Like
was gonna
Rena's
say-
killing me.
yeah, Rena, you sound like you're like 8 in this moment.
Uh-huh.
Like, really.
Like, wow.
Just whoa. I draw myself closer to her bed, scooting on my wheelchair.
This tiny, adorable, squishy, most wonderful woman in the world.
So I roll on up to take advantage.
I
be rolling, they be hating. I'm rolling, they're hating.
Mister?
Just getting closer so I can access you more.
It's okay. Don't worry. I'm just going to put my hand over your face
Don't
one
worry.
more time.
Remember when I touched you before? Well, implied consent abstraction says that if I've done it once, I can do it again.
Yep. Here we go.
Yes, Rena, I say, getting very close to her.
Okay.
Me also, though, getting very close to her where my head is at the height of her hips because she's in a hospital bed.
You have to consider that a lot of hospital beds are pretty high. I know.
Because they have all the equipment underneath.
It's true. There's also the fact that they're usually adjustable, and I know some, I believe they're child versions, but for the most part they don't tend to have those unless you have specifically a child hospital.
You roll on up to Rena, and she just does the thing to lift the whole bed. Not raise the head or the foot, she just raises the whole thing.
Yes, mister?
And then you can't really see her without looking up over past the edge of the bed to her.
She's like, I have learned this. It's called power posing. It is a thing that I got from my mom.
It's great.
I love it. Dot, 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 dot.
Yes.
Thank you for being a good friend.
As I am up.
Thank you.
With my face at the edge of her mattress. I just glance up to where she is. I wish I could stand, then I could get to her.
I feel like this is a Charlie Chaplin skit, which was actually
Really goddamn funny. If you know what I'm talking about, there is a skit in one of Charlie Chaplin's movies where it is literally him playing Hitler and he has one of his buddies playing Mussolini, and they are doing the power play thing where they adjust their height on their barber chairs.
To get higher,
one goes higher than the other, one goes higher than the other, and it just keeps going until they get to the ceiling, and it's ridiculous. It's meant to be stupid, but it's really funny.
I'm more important than you. My chair is higher.
Pretty much.
Looking
up.
Googly eye. Thank you. I should be the one to thank you. And I have an exact idea of what thanking looks like.
Yeah.
Because last time I have the option to thank someone, I was requesting something from them.
I expect something really ridiculous, though, like Rena to hold out Pigbun and go, you may kiss one foot.
What? Oh, that's amazing.
Here, kiss Pigfoot.
Well, remember how it's the thing of you kiss my ring, you can kiss Pigbun?
That's amazing. I should be the one to thank you. She's one of the nicest girls I've ever known.
If we say it enough, maybe the audience will believe us. You guys, if you don't illustrate this in any way, me as a reader, I will never believe you, because I have seen nothing to constitute this belief that Rena is the nicest person we've ever known.
I was gonna say, yeah, she's actually a little bit nosy, and she's a little bit pushy, and she's really she has other things that don't necessarily constitute nice or not nice, but in the way of her being nosy and obtuse, don't really construct nice for me.
And she seems really childish, but also that's not being helped by our main protagonist. So overall, for me, I'm just going, you're saying a lot, but you're not showing enough.
And that's the thing, is my friend here has had a lot of problems with literature. They're like, this person's the most capable thing ever, and then they're not capable. This villain, and I've had a lot of problems with, this villain is the most badass ever, and then they're not the most badass ever.
And everybody steps on them. All their minions don't respect them.
One tiny rant that I'm just going to go off on real quick.
Please, feel free.
Is my villain rant, okay? So it frustrates me when your villain suddenly is less powerful and less capable without something being put in place to produce that, just so the hero can look cool. I've run into a lot of cases where the villain is super powerful, super capable, has everything together until the hero shows up, and then you have basically an experience of it feeling like the author went, shit, I don't know how this hero is going to defeat that villain. I better make the villain incompetent all of a sudden, or less powerful in this scenario. And they don't have any kryptonite there to justify it. They don't have the villain being stressed or overwhelmed. They don't have you catching the villain unawares in their bedchamber, so they're not as prepared as they would normally be. Whatever it is.
Oh dear, I'm nude.
I'm not prepared to fight in the nude. Your villain, normally in full-ass combat armor, head to foot, you find out they have a strong modesty clause and a really strong body dysphoria. They can't function when they're not dressed. So you get them in the nude, and you just have absolute psychological what is that? It's high ground over them, you know? I'm like, I couldn't think of high
The
ground.
power play has gone.
And it's like, and then you suddenly have this person that is a very, very different person, an interesting piece of character development, and it makes sense that your hero wins because they are at a major disadvantage for actual exposited reasons, rather than because the hero's so badass.
Or
Anyway.
the hero is so morally good
Anyway,
for arbitrary reasons.
I like it when people show what they're trying to tell you. She's extremely beautiful. All right, demonstrate how people think, respond to that beauty.
This is also, though, the reason that I've had a lot of quiet critique in regards to, for example, like anime, where everybody goes, this girl is the most beautiful. And unfortunately, due to the overly simplistic style for a lot of series, they all look the goddamn same, so I cannot distinguish what makes one character more beautiful than another character in many circumstances. They're like, they're so pretty. And I'm like,
they all look good?
They all look nice.
Our general standards of beauty in reality tend to be, and I'm just going to say for American standards, even though I know they overlap somewhere, tend to be, you want to be fit and thin. Thin being interpreted different ways by different people. Some people just say slim or, that kind of thing. But some people go, well, thin is too much. But anyways, you want to not be fat.
Right.
And you want to have a general level of appearance of fitness and health. So good teeth, clear skin, thick hair, blah, blah, blah. All of those tropey archetypes that nonetheless often are companioned with those things, right? And so everyone in anime generally has that. They never draw skin blemishes unless it's a big plot point. They never draw anyone looking old unless, again, it's really important to the story.
Right.
So they all look very youthful. For the most part, they all have ridiculously, fabulously cared for and relatively thick, healthy hair, and they all have, clear, bright eyes, and if they have teeth, they're incredibly white teeth, that kind of thing. So all of the markers of beauty, everyone has got them. And so it's like,
the only thing
she's the most beautiful thing. How? In comparison to the other ones. And then you have to teach people what your standard of beauty is in your particular show. And again, the art doesn't help people with that much. She's one of the nicest girls I've ever known. I wish I'd met her even before. Why even?
Why?
Why did you put even there? I wish I'd met her before I broke my leg. I wish I'd met her even before I broke my leg.
It's to stress just how much I wish I knew her.
Okay.
Like, it's even before I knew her. Like, I broke my leg.
To me,
because in that way, it would be so much better, or so much more.
It almost sounds like it undercuts the value of her friendship, even as it emphasizes it, going, like it says, your current experience for most of it going, normally meeting a girl in the hospital would be so great and awesome because I get to have a friend when my leg is broken. But this one's so good that I wish even before I broke my leg, rather than just having a hospital friend, I would be willing to have or interested in knowing her.
Right.
And I'm like, that's a little bit wild. I guess it suggests more about his character saying even.
Right.
Going, it'd be nice to know any cute girl while I'm in here breaking my, with a broken leg. That's great.
Oh.
But her, I'd be happy to know even before.
Okay, so speaking of actually broken legs, really quickly,
We did some research on broken femurs.
Yes, because I've made some assumptions, and I will say in some ways I believe I could be very much seen as inaccurate, but also not. So based off of basically some reports, depending on the type of surgery involved in repairing femurs, they talk about how almost always, so I was looking at a few medical journals where almost always all broken femurs require surgery. And that even means for fractures or whatever else because of how powerful that bone is in your body and how much you use it.
It's an intense break when it breaks.
It really is. Even if it's just a minor fracture, they talk about it takes anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks before you're really up again. And they'll recommend that you're moving by that point, you're stretching and walking around. They say even that sometimes after some surgery, which you usually have, like the day after, the couple days after, they want you to get up because they need you to heal because all those muscles and all that tendon in there needs to be able to support your body, and you need to get the exercise before it heals in a bad way.
Right. And so there is a level of, some people can walk right after breaking it, but it's not healed to relatively normal function until 6 to 12 weeks. And it's not healed all the way until
12 months.
Yeah, until
actually.
6 to 12 months.
Yeah, it takes a long time, and especially if you're not up and not taking care of yourself and not going through your stretches, your exercises, it could take a long time. So in that way, I will say that I was incorrect in my initial assessment of this, but I also will say that I'm not, because as far as I can tell, Mr. literally goes through no physical therapy, has nobody attached to his process of basically becoming better in regards to a femur break. And
his recovery process, based on the one doctor's orders that we've seen, other than get well soon, was you need to relax. Do not stress out.
Yeah.
And that's not much physical therapy.
At
since
all.
Stressing is, psychological.
So
anyway, but yeah, there's so that was kind of a cool thing to learn.
and on go that I'm not completely wrong. Fuck it.
So
So
I wish I'd met her even before I broke my leg. And in the next one,
we're gonna find out, I guess, more about a broken leg. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So thank you very much, though, guys, for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and also share our videos if you're having a good time with us. Please feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi or Patreon. Got some links in the description down below. And I have been Scandal.
and I have been Lies,
And it was great playing with you. Bye!